Good morning. What was the attendance of an earlier lecture? It has crossed 38, right? And right now only 21 students have joined. Where are rest of the students? Good morning, Mohini. Only 20, 26. I'm doing countdown. है ना? 38 से 26 तक गए बच्चे. चलो. Where you be? Nowhere or somewhere? Yesterday, we have started our discussion on direct taxation. And in that, we have seen what is the difference between direct tax and indirect tax. Then, as per the income tax, what we term as the person, as an assessee, what is previous year, what is assessment year, right? What is the income, which are the 5 heads of income, how to calculate this gross total income, how to calculate taxable income. Slowly and steadily, we are moving towards the part which is critical to calculate in terms of tax liability. पहले जान ले कि एग्रीकल्चरल इनकम होता क्या है. तो एनी रिवाइज कर रही हूँ ये पार्ट, क्योंकि ये दिस क्वेश्चन कम्स इन एग्जामिनेशन many a times frequently. Either residential status will be asked, if not that, then agricultural income, if not that, exemptions under section 10. So whatever it may be, but you have to remember these all points which are discussed. So if we consider agricultural income in that particular line, then any land which is located in India and where cultivation activities are undertaken. Rashi lad mein noka hua. Go. When I'm saying go out means go out. Any activity which is undertaken in terms of harvesting, cultivation, planting, sowing, and with which income is generated, then that income is considered as income through agricultural activities, and we call in short agricultural income. So here, if we consider income with the help of sugar cane in terms of jaggery's production, that activity is undertaken in farmland, then that can be considered as the agricultural produced, because certain processing is done there itself. But we cannot consider sugar which is produced in sugar factory, even though it is output of after processing on sugar cane, as the agricultural income. So slightly few things we supposed to remember forever. Income from sale of wheat, rice, sugarcane, fruits, vegetable, etc. Rent received from agricultural land. income from nurseries, growing saplings and seedlings, income from dairy farming carried out as a part of agricultural operation, because we require all these animals for farming. And even after that, if we are getting certain income through these dairy farming, then that is also part of agricultural income. But poultry farming is not the agricultural income. Dairy farming independently done in agricultural land, then that is also not agricultural income. Income from fisheries, if we have that tank and all and doing that fisheries, then that is also not agricultural income. Income from trading in agricultural produce without cultivation, if I'm doing that and doing that trading also, so bifurcation supposed to be done. If I have cultivated and traded it, then it is considered as under the head of agricultural income. But without cultivation, if I'm doing only trading, then no, it will not be considered as agricultural income. Income from processing of agricultural produce beyond the ordinary process necessary to make marketable. So for agricultural income, what is the tax treatment that also we have taken into consideration? For the calculation of gross total income, we take that amount into consideration, even though on agricultural income tax is not calculated. These are the features that we have also seen. Then person's definition. According to section 2 of Income Tax Act, person is defined as an individual, association of individual, group of individual, associ- uh, association of group of individual, joint ventures, then joint stock company, Hindu undivided family business, local authorities, any organization which is registered under Charitable Trust Act, or we can say artificial judicial person. These all are considered as person under Income Tax Act. For that matter, Dagdushet Ganpati Charitable Trust is also person. Tamdi Jogeshwari Temple, which is registered under Charitable Trust Act, is a person. So when we remember this definition of person, that person's definition is pretty clear. So by considering these all definition, we consider person definition. Let me try again for sharing. Hmm. Now, when we can talk about the Income Tax Act is talking about various things. These various things are all about the income from various sources. One of the income source is what? Income from salary. What does salary mean for you? Yes. Any guesses? What is the definition of salary? सैलरी क्या होता है? सैलरी की डेफिनेशन पढ़ी है हम लोगों ने पहले.
monthly honorarium paid.
Any honorarium received from the employer to employee, from organization and by employee if it is received, right? Now X is the person who is receiving pension. Can we term that as a salary? बोलो. सैलरी के डेफिनेशन में कंसीडर करेंगे क्या हम उसे?
Yes.
Yes. Even if it gratuity is received, it is against the service which you are receiving at the end of your service. If you are getting provident fund and whatever amount you are getting against you are serving that particular organization for the period, that amount is termed as salary. So one of the income source, if we want to calculate tax, is nothing but the income from salary. Likewise, five heads against income we are going to study. One is income from salary, another one is income from house property. Now, what is the house property? Why income against house property is calculated? Now, how many houses which we can consider as a self-occupied houses? Tell me. How many houses we can consider as a self-occupied houses? बोलो. ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट है जो अभी हम डिस्कस करेंगे. रेसिडेंशियल स्टेटस में वापस कहीं कभी भी रिवाइज कर ही लूंगी. बोलिए. कितने हाउस हम सेल्फ ऑक्यूपाइड कंसीडर कर सकते हैं? अरे आपके पास क्रोम है. इफ नॉट यू हैव रेड अर्लियर, यू हैव ऑल search search engines available with which you can search and you can answer.
One and one and more, like two surface property which can
I
consider
as a person, I'll give you that. I will explain with the help of example. In 2019's budget, it has been approved that a person can show or have two self-occupied houses. Prior to 2019's budget, it was considered that even though I as a person have multiple houses, in one house I can stay and it has been shown as self-occupied house property. Rest other houses, even in those houses my family members are staying, supposed to be considered as deemed to be let out house property. When I'm using let out means they are rented premises, and if not rented then you have to assume that as rented premises, and that is the reason we use word in income tax deemed to be let out premises. So 2019 budget brought that change in the act itself, where it has been accepted that due to any reason person may stay in two houses and can be considered as self occupied house property. Actually मैं यहाँ हूँ तो मैं यहाँ हूँ, मैं दूसरी जगह पे हूँ नहीं, right? If I'm there in one house, I'm not there in another house. But there are chances that parents are staying in that particular house which is on my name, or else I'm serving other in another city, and my near and dearer ones are staying in another city, and both the houses are on my name. So there are many circumstances due to which people nowadays they are investing in real estate in multiple houses. And if it is so, by considering today's facts and figures, amendment came in picture in 2019, and it is accepted that two houses can be considered as self occupied house property. If I have more than two houses, then it is so compulsory that you supposed to consider rest other houses as deemed to be let out house property if they are not let out. And if they are let out, then calculation of gross annual value as per rule will be there. Annual valuation will be as per the after deduction of municipal taxation. Then from that standard deduction will be taken into consideration 30% of net annual value, and interest amount will be applicable for the purpose of deduction. This is all about house property. Rules of these calculations we will see afterwards, but in general I am telling you how we are doing. In annual property valuation, we consider rent specifically into consideration. There are chances of getting information of standard rent, actual rent, municipal valuation, fair rent. These terminologies will be there, and considering all these terminologies and information which is given in a problem, we derive net annual value of that particular property. Next is what? Income from business and profession. After considering income from business and profession, we have another part into consideration, that is capital gain. If a person is investing and after investment he is generating certain sum, even if it is of shorter duration and even if it is of longer duration, then capital gain is supposed to be calculated. On capital gain, that person is supposed to pay tax at the rate of 20% if applicable. But duration, which will be considered as a short term and long term, then for real estate it is considered as 1 year plus 2, that is 3 years time span as short term duration. Whereas for stock, that duration is nothing but lesser than 1 year, 12 months. Long term is more than 12 months. So this is how we consider the capital gain uh, in terms of short term capital gain and long term capital gain. Short term is 12 months, lesser than 12 months in case of stocks, lesser than 36 months in case of other investment. Long term, more than 1 year in case of stocks, and 36 months and more in case of other investments. So depending on it, if you calculate short-term capital gain and long-term capital gain, if you can claim for exemption, you should supposed to do that, and rest other amount is chargeable under Income Tax Act. If you are not capable enough to reinvest that whole sum, then you supposed to think of other part. And income from other sources is taken into consideration. That other sources which is not specified in all these four is taken into consideration. Interest on FD, then any prize amount which I have received, or lottery. Such a small but substantial amounts are part of your income which you supposed to consider from income from other sources. Nowadays, another part which we have into consideration, that is after considering this gross total income and calculation of taxable income, how to think of taxation. Now, taxation part can be calculated with old regime and new regime. It's that taxpayer's choice with which he is supposed to pay tax. Those who are having investment attitude and want to save their tax by doing certain investments and have a ability to invest, then they may many a times prefer old tax regime. Whereas up to 12 lakhs, sorry, 14 lakhs, up to 14 lakhs, if we prefer new regime without investment also, we are saving tax, because here tax calculations are simple. With certain slabs we supposed to calculate, and we are comparatively saving our tax liability in comparison with old slabs also. So if we consider new regime, under new regime it is said that up to 12 lakhs there is no tax. So if the person is having 12 lakh 75,000 income, even in that case he is supposed to pay no tax, because 75,000 any which ways it is the exemption available under standard deduction head. He or she supposed to pay professional tax. That is the reason it is again deductible part 2,500. So it is going below 12 lakhs and he is not paying tax. And even in new regime, it is permitted that he or she is supposed to contribute in terms of national pension scheme, that is of 50,000, which is also taken into consideration. In that case it is going to nearly 13 lakhs 15,000. Likewise, certain loopholes are available in new regime also, with which we are able to save our tax. So यहाँ तो स्ट्रेट अवे 13 lakhs मैंने अभी बोला, उस हिसाब से 13,25,000 तक भी आप जाते हो तो आपको टैक्स लाइबिलिटी उतनी जनरेट हो ही नहीं रही. वेर एज ओल्ड स्लैब में आपने इन्वेस्टमेंट नहीं करा तो आपको टैक्सेशन पार्ट चालू हो जाता है. तो इट्स अप टू द पर्सन एज पर हिज और हर चॉइस. टैक्स कैलकुलेशंस आर डन. Exempt under section 10, agricultural income, certain allowances, scholarships are exempted. So incomes which are exempted under section 10, in that if it is asked, specify it in the examination, you can write down agricultural income is exempted. Now what about conveyance allowance? In conveyance allowance, if it is utilized for the official purpose, conveyance allowance is deductible, exempted. What about travel allowance? If travel allowance is utilized within 3 years once, then it is exempted. What about what we can say? Educational allowance. If it is utilized for children, it is not exempted fully but partly it is exempted. 100 per child, so 200 per child हो जाता है, per person हो जाता है, क्यों maximum children 2 is allowed for 12 months. 2,400 deductible. Hostel allowance 300 per child, maximum 2 children, 7,200 is deductible. Likewise, exemptions are available. Whatever exemptions you can write down as per the limit and you can claim for the exemption. Likewise, you supposed to write. Agricultural income exemption under section 10 subsection 1. Under section 10 subsection 10, gratuity subject to conditions certain level exempted. Commuted pension exemption, leave encashment exemption, pay share of profit from partnership firm, payment from provident fund. HRA exemption, HRA का exemption क्या है? 40 or 50% of salary received, actual HRA received, rent paid over 10% of salary. इसमें से जो भी लिस्ट अमाउंट रहेगा वो exempted है. Now, when we are saying salary for the purpose of HRA calculation is clear and defined in the law itself or act, income tax act itself. Salary is nothing but basic plus DA of retirement benefit plus commission in terms of percentage of sales or percentage of turnover. Rest other things are not part of salary. Even though it is paid for defining salary, salary is defined only for purpose of HRA calculation or RPF calculation. Three components. One is basic, another one is the DA of retirement benefit and commission in terms of percentage of turnover. Scholarship for education, allowances of NPs and MLAs exempted. Income of certain scheduled tribe members in specific areas. Section 10 provides the exemption for certain incomes that are not included in total income. Important exemption include Section 10 subsection 1, that is of agricultural income. Agricultural income is exempted. HRA is exempted with conditions. Scholarship of education, again certain things supposed to be fulfilled. Allowances. Now here the comparison of old regime and new regime will be there afterwards. Here only old regime is mentioned. Higher tax slabs with deduction and exemption is the feature of old tax regime. Taxable income and tax rate up to 2,50,000. If individual is below 60 years, there is no tax. But if 2,50,000 to 5 lakhs, 5% supposed to be calculated. 5 lakhs to 10 lakhs, 20%, and above rupees 10 lakhs, 30,000. Here we have to remember one thing. If income, gross total income and taxable income is below 5 lakhs, then he is supposed to, he need not to pay tax. After calculation of taxable amount, whatever amount you are getting, on that 4% is education cess is applicable. So your tax liability will include this calculation of earlier income tax plus education cess. Now for that matter, if we are taking example, very raw and rough example where taxable income is 8 lakhs, we are following old regime. So 0 to 2,50,000 calculations are nil. 2,50,000 to 5 lakhs, that amount is 2,50,000. Difference of these two, 5 minus 250. On this 250, you supposed to calculate the income tax at the rate of 5%. It will be 12,500. Now 5 lakhs to 8 lakhs is at the rate of 20%. 8 minus 5 comes to 3 lakhs. 20% of 3 lakhs, it comes to 60,000. So total income tax will come to 60 plus 12,500, 72,500. On this 72,500, education cess is at the rate of 4%, which comes to rupees 2,900. So total tax liability of that ex-fellow whose income is 8 lakhs and is following old regime comes to rupees 75,400. If he might have opted new regime, in that case, tax liability is zero because up to 12 lakhs there is no tax. Computation of income from salary. Here is the table rough for just purpose of remembering. Gross salary less HRA exemption less standard deduction. When I am saying standard deduction, it is two different amount under two heads. HRA का डिडक्शन ओल्ड में है तो ओल्ड रिजिम के हिसाब से स्टैंडर्ड डिडक्शन 50,000, HRA डिडक्शन न्यू रिजिम में है ही नहीं, और उसी हिसाब से यहाँ न्यू रिजिम में जो स्टैंडर्ड डिडक्शन है वो है 75,000. दिस इज 75,000 इन न्यू रिजिम. HRA not allowed. Income from salary will be the net amount after deduction. Income from house property likewise here. Gross annual value minus municipal taxes. Compulsorily remember this. If it is outstanding, will not be deducted. If it is paid, then and then only deduction is allowed. And then derive the net annual value. From that, you supposed to deduct standard deduction of 30% and interest on housing loan under section 20B 24B, maximum of 2 lakhs for self occupied house property. And if it is self occupied house property, when we are considering maximum of 2 lakhs in terms of deduction, then net annual value is 0, deduction is 0, and minus 2 lakhs. This minus 2 lakhs is negative income against self occupied house property. तो ए आपको इनकम फ्रॉम सैलरी 8 लाख मिला, बट इनकम फ्रॉम हाउस प्रॉपर्टी -2 लाख मिला, तो नेट टैक्सेबल इनकम ऑफ दैट एक्स 8 lakhs minus 2 lakhs will be 6 lakhs. Income from other sources here, income from salary or loss from house property, income from other sources is taken directly as amount and gross total income is calculated. Deduction under section 80C, chapter 6A. So which are the actually deductions available? The deductions under 80C is nothing but the maximum amount of which you have invested or 1,50,000, whichever comes minimum. If I have invested under section 80C only 85,000, even though limit is given 1,50,000, I cannot claim for 1,50,000. I have to claim for only deduction of 85,000. And if I have invested 1,85,000, but even though I have invested 1,85,000, I cannot claim for full amount. Whichever is minimum rule is applicable, and that is the reason I could claim for tax benefit against only 1,50,000. This is all about under section 80C. Eligible investments, investment in bank, public provident fund, employee provident fund, ELSS. What is the long form of ELSS? Equity linked savings schemes. Is it right? ELSS. What is the long form? ELSS. बोलो. आपको बोलना पड़ेगा। नहीं बोलोगे तो कैसे चलेगा? इन्वेस्ट
इक्विटी लिंक्ड सेविंग स्कीम।
इक्विटी लिंक्ड सेविंग स्कीम्स बेनिफिट है. It will give you benefit for tax saving purposes if
यस।
you follow good regime, and that is the reason when you will be creating your portfolio, you have to think of your diversified investment pattern. Right now, our government is not giving us these tax benefits if we are having less income than we think. नहीं बाबा, इससे tax benefit कुछ मिलता नहीं, तो why to invest? But over a period of time, if you invest and you think of getting certain returns, these are the investment options available in a market. आप पीपीएफ में भी डालो तो मिनिमम 9% से रिटर्न मिलेंगे, कम नहीं मिलेंगे, और वो आपके सेविंग अकाउंट या एफडी से कंपेयर करोगे तो थोड़े अच्छे ही है. सो यू कैन इन्वेस्ट इन पीपीएफ ऑल्सो. 9.25 आई एम गेटिंग. ट्यूशन फीस, प्रिंसिपल रीपेमेंट ऑफ हाउसिंग लोन, दीज आर exempted. प्रिंसिपल अमाउंट भी एग्जाम्शन के लिए है, इंटरेस्ट अमाउंट भी एग्जाम्शन के लिए है. तो प्रिंसिपल रीपेमेंट एग्जाम्शन के लिए करोगे तो आपको 1,50,000 तक का वो बेनिफिट दे सकता है. +2, 3.5 लाख तो इधर ही हो गया. बिलो 5 lakhs if your income is there, और up to 5 lakhs प्लस 3,50,000. कैसे? तो 1,50,000 ये और 2 lakhs वो, 2.5 लाख. सही. 3, 3.5 और 50,000, 4. इन केस आपके घर में कोई डिसेबल्ड है तो उसका बेनिफिट वो सिवियरिटी के हिसाब से 25, 75. हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस 25, 50, 75. इस हिसाब से कल करते गए तो कभी कभी ये अमाउंट सब्सटेंशियल दिख जाता है. तो ओल्ड भी कंसीडर करके लोग कैलकुलेशंस कर ही देते हैं, बट करने वाले बहुत ही रेयरली आपको मिलेंगे. बाय डिफॉल्ट अभी न्यू टैक्सेशन का कैलकुलेशन साइट पे लॉगिन करने के बाद आपको करके रिटर्न फाइल करने पड़ भी रहे हैं. If you are claiming for HRA, then for HRA you have to give the owner's details. Then it is exempted only up to 60,000. Then what is the use? Even though we know the conditions which are not applicable in Pune, there are many things associated with this. When I'm saying child is disabled, that time also we should have that ID. Then that certificate supposed to be issued by civil surgeon, which supposed to have that particular period's validity. बहुत सारी चीजें लिंक्ड है वो अपलोड करने के बाद आपको सर्टिफिकेट जनरेट होता है, उसके बाद आप एग्जाम्शन के लिए क्लेम कर सकते हैं. और ये इतनी झंझट लगती है कि ऐसा लगता है नहीं नहीं मुझे कुछ करना ही नहीं, मुझे रिन्यू के लिए जाना है. Section 80D Medical Insurance Premium. Self, spouse and children for 25,000 maximum. Parents below 60, 25,000. Parents above 60, 25,000 ना होते हुए वो लिमिट बढ़ जाता है 50,000. सो एज सच आपके घर में पेरेंट्स बिलो 60 और आप खुद को कंसिडर करते होंगे तो 25, 25, 50. मेरे घर में मेरी कंडीशन ऐसे है कि मेरे घर में जो पेरेंट्स है वो अबव 60 है, तो 25 + 50, 75. एटीडी का एग्जाम्शन. न्यू टैक्स रिजिम. Low tax with limited deductions and exemption. Standard deduction instead of 50,000, which we have seen in old regime earlier, it is now 75,000 in new regime. Section 87A rebate is up to 12 lakhs. Zero tax liability. For a salaried individual, because of 75,000 standard deduction, salary income 12 lakhs. 0 tax liability. For a salaried individual, because of 75,000 standard deduction, salary income 12 lakhs. 0 tax liability. For a salaried individual, because of 75,000 standard deduction, salary income 12 lakhs. 0 tax liability. For a salaried individual, because of 75,000 standard deduction, salary income About to 12 lakh 75,000, it can effectively have zero income tax liability. बट 12,75,000 से ज्यादा कुछ भी हो गया तो स्लैब के हिसाब से इनकम टैक्स कैलकुलेशन. न्यू वर्सेस ओल्ड इनकम टैक्स. On the basis of tax rate, you can differentiate. Deductions, you can differentiate. And suitability, you can differentiate. We'll have that comparison at last. We'll first of all go through the example. New tax regime where and how we can calculate income tax. Up to 4 lakhs no tax, 4 to 8 5%, 8 to 12 10%, 12 to 16 15%, 16 to 20 20%, 20 to 24 25%, and above 24 30%. Now old versus new regime, which is better? If that question is asked, you do not claim significant deductions. Under what? Under new regime. Old regime has all these significant deductions allowed. Your deductions of section 80C, 80D, HRA, home loan interest, NPS, etc. are relatively small in case of new regime. न्यू रिजिम डायरेक्ट 12,75,000 पे लेके बिठा देता है हमें, बट ओल्ड रिजिम वैसे नहीं करता है. तो आपको कभी कभी ऐसा लगता है कंपैरिजन करने के बाद कि नहीं, न्यू इज प्रॉफिटेबल, परवडेबल, affordable. So you straight away ignore investments and go and do the calculation with the help of new regime. You prefer simply and lower slab rates, simplicity and lower slab rates which are of new regime. The old regime may not be better if you have substantial deduction under section 80C, PPF, EPF, ELSS, LIC, etc. Tuition fees also. HRA exemption, Jai Jinendra. Home loan interest, section 80D is health insurance, NPS deduction. So if what we have and how we can save. See, if you want to check or verify what is better and what is not better, unless and until after OTP you submit, you press the submit button, return is not filed. So select new, put the all facts and figures, select old, put all the facts and figures, generate tax liability and just check which is suitable. If you prefer old one, go for it if it is lesser amount. If you after getting new one, lesser amount of tax liability generated, prefer it and submit it. It is simple. At back end, all calculations are done and you need not to think of what to do, what not to do. Both the permutation combinations are available. You do it and check it. It's better instead of just telling you and remembering all these things after rectification. Do it practically and remember it. Understanding tax concept is essential for tax planning and compliance. When we are going through this first chapter, understanding is important because it is going to help us while return filing. If we file return with precaution, we can save our tax. If we are not doing so, then we cannot save our tax liability. Any doubts, any question up till now? If you have, you please tell me. See, on the basis of residential status, ROR, For him, he is supposed to pay income tax as he is deriving income in India. Resident but not ordinary resident. If they are receiving any income or benefits or any profits from business which they are running in India, then they're supposed to pay income tax in India. Even for that is applicable for non-resident Indians. Income accruing arising out or deemed to accrue or arise in India, whether it is received in India or outside India, then in all these three conditions, ordinary resident, non-resident, and non-ordinary resident, in all these three conditions, they're supposed to pay income tax on the basis of this given condition. Income received and accrued arising outside India from business controlled in India or the profession is set up in India, then for resident, ordinary resident, it is applicable to pay tax in India. Non-resident Indians, NRI, for them it is not applicable. And for resident but not ordinary, उनके लिए this income tax liability is applicable. Income received and accrued or arise outside India from business controlled outside India, profession set up in India. कुछ भी करो, बाहर इनकम है, बाहर से जनरेट किया, बाहर का ही सोर्स है, सेंट्रल ऑफिस बाहर का है, बट रेसिडेंट होगा तो उसको इनकम टैक्स इंडिया में भरना पड़ेगा. रेसिडेंट बट नॉट ऑर्डिनरी रेसिडेंट होगा तो उसको नहीं भरना पड़ेगा. एनआरआई को भी नहीं देना पड़ेगा. Income from business or profession received or accrued outside India. In case of ordinary resident, he is supposed to pay. Non-ordinary resident, he need not to think of. And for NRI, this is also not applicable. Income earned, received outside, income earned and received outside India at lateral and later on permitted to India during the previous year. For that resident but not ordinary, he is not liable to pay income tax, even for non-ordinary and non-resident Indians. एक ही केस में ऑर्डिनरी रेसिडेंट को हमें इनकम टैक्स लाइबिलिटी नहीं आता. कहाँ? तो इनकम अर्न रिसीव्ड आउटसाइड इंडिया लेटर ऑन परमिटेड टू इंडिया ड्यूरिंग द प्रीवियस ईयर. बाहर कमाया, भले ऑर्डिनरी रेसिडेंट है बट कुछ पैसा हमने आउटसाइड कंट्री में कमाया और बाद में वो इंडिया में लेके आए तो उसमें आपको नहीं टैक्स लाइबिलिटी जनरेट होता. व्हाट अबाउट द रेसिडेंशियल स्टेटस ऑफ जॉइंट हिंदू फैमिली बिजनेस और इल्स कंपनी. Joint Hindu family business is concentrating, he is everything with the hands of Karta. If Karta is located in India, then that joint Hindu family business is of Indian joint Hindu family business. If Karta is located in some other country, then that joint Hindu family business is not having residential status of Indian. It is having that residential status where the Karta is located. Similarly, for joint stock company, that joint stock company which is located in India, having head office is in India, controlling all operations from India, then it has the origin of Indian. Whereas if it is done from outside, head office is outside, then that company is not Indian company, it is foreign company. So accordingly, laws will be applicable. So residential, on the basis of residential status, laws are applicable whether it is of Hindu undivided family business, whether it is of joint stock company, whether it is of individual to whom we want to find out their residential status. Yesterday we have seen deemed assessee. Deemed assessee is the person who is paying tax due to default at the part of assessee. Which are the exempted income? Tell me. Exemption under section 10. Slightly we will revise few things na. Everything is not given, but few things are given. Which are the exempted income? What is capital expenditure? What is revenue expenditure? What is capital receipt? What is revenue receipt? थोड़ा तो पढ़ना ही पढ़ने वाला है. What is tan? Why tan is required? What is pan? Why pan is required? tan किसको चाहिए होता है? बोलो. What is the long form of tan? Who requires to obtain this tan? One who is collecting or deducting taxes, tax deducted at source, has always a tan number. TDS details with reference to 16/16A 26 AS for financial year are reflected in this tan. जो भी कुछ आपको टीडीएस डिडक्ट करके देता है उस बंदे के पास, उस बंदी के पास, उस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के पास टैन नंबर होता है. उन्होंने टीडीएस डिडक्ट करने के बाद गवर्नमेंट को रिटर्न में वो फाइल करा, सब पैसा जमा करा, तो आपके 26 एएस में वो रिफ्लेक्ट होता है. तभी आप रिफंड के लिए क्लेम करना चाहते हो तो कर सकते हो, नहीं तो आप क्लेम भी नहीं कर सकते. तो ये सब चीजें बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. प्रैक्टिकली आप जाके जब चेक करोगे तब आप ये कर सकते हो. See, when I'm saying you do this honestly, why? Just because even if you are not making career in taxation, but if you are well versed with this taxation part, then after a practice you can file return of individuals where people are ready to pay minimum 1,000 rupees for filing return, because they have a fear, and their fear is your opportunity, which you can trap. If you file return of 100, say 100 people, 100 into 1,000, this is 1 lakh amount, and 1 lakh amount is not small. It is another tangible source of income to you. So think twice before doing any activity, before learning anything. And this income tax is giving you that platform where you will have your own confidence of filing return. बहुत सारी छोटी छोटी चीजें हैं जो कि अभी मैं स्लाइड में नहीं दिखा रही हूँ, क्योंकि स्लाइड में जो भी दिखाते हैं तो आप सिर्फ पढ़ते हो, कुछ आंसर्स नहीं करते. आप अभी जो रिवाइज कर रहे हैं, हम तो फर्स्ट चैप्टर में हम लोगों ने जो किया वह पहले तो हमने डायरेक्ट टैक्सेशन इनडायरेक्ट टैक्सेशन में डिफरेंस वी हैव सीन. आफ्टर गोइंग थ्रू दैट डिफरेंस वी हैव स्लोली entered into incomes definition on the basis of income tax as an example. Once it is done, then sources of income, then person's definition, then assessee's definition, assessment year, previous year. These were the things which we have seen, and later on we have gone with the concluding part for residential status, agricultural income, new tax slab, and old tax slab. Any doubt, any confusion, if you have, you can contact me. Today we will stop here because our first chapter is over. Good day.